Some people, they're triggered by kindness. They think kindness is weakness. It reminds them of their own feeling of being weak or being vulnerable, of being on the receiving end. So many people are triggered by kindness or positivity. They have to destroy it. They have to hate it. Not because there's anything problematic with being kind or being loving. It's just because we've grown accustomed to live in a world where we have normalized being hateful, being cold, being shut down, not smiling to each other, not giving each other a compliment on the way. We live in a world where everything suddenly has become so meaningless. And so people don't want to hear anything kind. They don't want to feel any softness, any love, because then they will be reminded of their existence. They will be reminded of how much they actually hate themselves. Because love is expansion. It's something that flows in and dissolves all the knots, all the tension. And that can be painful when someone is living from pure tension, from hatred, from coldness, from a state of being shut down. When you've been inside a dark room for a long time, the sunlight is going to hurt your eyes. Not because the sunlight is bad, but because you've become so used to living a life of darkness. Or when your fingers are cold and frozen and you go inside and put them under the warm water and it hurts. Not because the warm water is bad, not because it's burning your skin, but because you've become so adapted to coldness, to harshness, that suddenly love is the enemy. They thrive in this darkness and they thrive in this hatred. Oh, the world is so meaningless, the world is so worthless, I'm worthless, nothing matters. And then suddenly they witness some sort of love, they witness some sort of kindness or softness, something that reminds them that life is truly meaningful. I am truly meaningful. I am a beautiful being. I matter. But they don't want to accept that reality. They will rather accept the reality that they're not worth anything and almost just be completely accepting towards the fact that that is just how life is. They have no longer any resistance towards the fact that life is meaningless, that they are meaningless, that they are worthless. They're more scared of love than they are of hatred because they've been so used to being in a state of hatred. Nothing can make them soften. Nothing. Nothing can make that tension, that hatred dissolve. Nothing can make them move from contraction to expansion. They keep contracting. They keep shutting down more and more and more. And if they do witness any type of person or energy or situation that is soft and loving, open, kind, positive, it is just like they are under attack because their sense of self is under attack. So they have to find excuses or try to discuss it, try to fight it. Try to pull it apart, break it, ruin it. They'll call you fake. They'll say that, oh, it's just all ego. You're just so egotistical. But they don't understand that they are too caught in their own ego. They're too caught in their own narrative that life is just this one way and this one way only. Meaningless, worthless, hopeless. And nothing can soften them. Nothing can dissolve the tension. They'll just fight it instead. They won't use that power that they have to actually fight something that is damaging the world. They'll use it to fight something that is actually bettering the world. Because to live in a state of love, to live in compassion, to be kind, to love your neighbor, to be open towards the world is so rare nowadays. They just see it as pure weakness, as danger. That if they were to do that, their sense of self would be under attack. Their sense of self is already under attack by just witnessing something that is so opposite to the state that they're living in. And the thing is, a person who is kind and loving and compassionate, they too are used to hatred. They're used to being hated. They're used to hating themselves. They know how it feels to live in a place of coldness and harshness, of shutting down, which is exactly why they have learned to show themselves compassion. It's exactly why they have learned to soften towards themselves. Not because the harshness doesn't exist. On the contrary, they know it exists. They know that it is in them and it's in other people. That harshness is just a part of the world. And especially the world we live in now, where so many horrible things are happening. It's inevitable. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is inevitable. It doesn't mean that it's not there. It doesn't mean that if you're kind and loving that you're also ignoring life's brutal reality, that horrible things happen and that innocent people have to suffer, that the world is not just. But a kind person, a loving person, is much more accustomed to actually embracing the duality of life, embracing the contrasts. Whereas a person who is harsh and cold, shut down, unloving, they have just accepted that reality and that reality only. That is not bliss, that is not hope, that is not joy. They have accepted a reality of just one thing and one thing only. And what is mostly interesting is that a kind person will rarely be triggered by harshness because they know that that harshness is a part of life. Whereas a harsh person, a cold person, a shut down person, a person that is always negative, they'll be so triggered by someone smiling at them or showing them any type of kindness. They will react so violently towards something that is so soft and so kind, so embracing, which just goes to show how little they have integrated that part of them. They have not accepted that they can be many things at once. It is much safer for them to just be in that one state of being, to avoid having their sense of self under attack, to just accept that the world is cruel and harsh, that there's no meaning, no love, no kindness. And if there is, then it's meaningless too, because kindness is fake. Love is fake. There's no real love anywhere. They claim to be confident. They claim to know the way, but they are rejecting one half of life. They're rejecting any state of expansion within themselves or without. They have shut down themselves so much. But inside of them is a little child who was never loved, never cared for, never shown kindness. They think that kindness is dangerous, that love is dangerous, that to open yourself up to the world is to open yourself up to abuse, to violence, to hatred, to harshness. The harshness that they themselves now are living out, day after day after day. They have not yet understood that that little child inside of them is just crying out, screaming out for them to hold them, to show them that kindness that they were never shown, to show them that love that they were never shown, to forgive them. And instead, they have to punish every person out there who shows any type of kindness or positivity, because in reality they're just so much in pain, in so much grief, that they never got that. And so even though they might not call themselves hopeless, they might think that they're confident, but in reality they're completely hopeless. They have completely given up hope that they will ever feel that kindness upon their soul, that love deep, deep, deep in their bones. They have not found bliss. They've just shut down.